welcome to the 27th episode of the 10th Divine podcast. This is a show about Elder Scrolls Online, and I am your host, Raven. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Shanty. Shanty, long time no see. How's it going?
Well, at the moment, I'm still recovering from a sprained MCL, but I'm actually a good chunk of the way into the recovery on that. So
good.
By the end of next week, I should be perfectly fine.
Good.
That's been frustrating. It is lovely to see you again.
Yes, we were going to do this a couple of weeks ago, and then you sprained your MCL, so it was like, okay, maybe we weren't. Also, something else happened. I don't remember what it was, but all of our best laid plans.
There were a few things going on that week, and we just said, yeah, let's shelve it.
Yeah. We were, but anyway, it's October. We're back. We've had 4 or 5 months off, something like that. 4 months off. And here we are again. What have you been up to in your summer holiday, in your break from the show?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was a summer holiday type stuff. Right at the week after we recorded our last episode, we spent our anniversary weekend up in Minnesota, visited the Mall of America and the Apple Valley Zoo.
Nice.
You're going to hear the word zoo a lot coming up. So
I know, that's okay. I know that zoos are a you and Mrs. Shanty thing.
Yes. And then,
hey, people in the chat room. Welcome, people in the chat room.
Yes. So after that, we also spent a week in the middle of July, apparently avoiding like the 1 week we got above 90 degrees in Chicago this summer somehow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been, for the world being on fire, Chicago has mostly avoided it this summer, which is odd.
Okay. The UK has avoided the extreme heat. We just had heat that came into September and October in a way that it doesn't usually, but it didn't get higher than about 32 or 33 here this year, which, given that last year it got to 41, I was quite pleased about.
Yes. So we visited a couple of other zoos in Ohio, namely Columbus and Cincinnati. Cincinnati is home to Fiona, the youngest prematurely born hippo to survive in captivity. So we've been there 2 years running just to go see her, because my wife,
my goodness,
absolutely adores her, follows her on Facebook and all that other stuff.
The hippo has a Facebook page. Yes, of course they do.
And then I actually got to go to Gen Con.
Hey, how is Gen Con?
Large.
How many people go to Gen Con? What sort of scale of convention is it?
Reported attendance was 70,000 plus.
Okay, all right, that's pretty big. That's
a large town. Yes.
Yep. In fact, that is 3 times the size of my town. Almost.
Yes, and I think my step counter hit 22,000, because at one point on Saturday, I only was able to go Friday and Saturday, but better than not at all. And I went from one end of the convention to literally the other in back-to-back things that I had booked.
Oh, no.
And I swear it was like 1.5 miles just in that alone.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and actually it was fun because I got to catch up with some musician friends that I normally know through the Renaissance Fair scene. And there were a bunch of them that were performing at Gen Con. So
amazing.
That was cool. Yeah.
Is that your first time going to Gen Con?
The first time since they moved from Milwaukee to Indianapolis. Like, I was at the very last one that was in Milwaukee.
Right.
And that was actually the first convention I ever attended was Gen Con.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was nice reliving some memories on that front. That was something that I specifically did for me. I offered to take Mrs. Shanty. She said, I'm just going to stay home. Because she's not really a gamer, so it's not her scene.
Yeah. 22,000 steps is a lot of steps to put into not your scene, really.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
So what have you been up to this summer?
Oh, I have a pretty quiet one, really. So I did go on holiday, just nowhere exciting. I've not been to any zoos and I've not been to any conventions, although I am going to MCM Comic Con in London in a couple of weeks, which is going to throw our recording schedule off the instant we've like reimagined it. So that's super helpful. But I did go on holiday. That my friends and I do sort of the same holiday every year, where we book a holiday cottage. It's in the middle of the countryside. It has its own hot tub. There's about 10 of us that go every year. People who like cooking do all the cooking. Those of us who don't like cooking load the
Do all the
dishwasher.
eating.
Yeah, we just eat. We just eat. So there's always like everybody does like there's always like a breakfast, like a proper breakfast. So we have either waffles or fry up or pancakes or something like that. There's always like a big breakfast, and then there's always a big dinner. And then the rest of the time we just sort of snack, and I do quite a lot of walking. Other people don't tend to join me for all of the walking, but we also there's local vineyards, so we always go to local vineyards and pick up some English sparkling wine made in the champagne method. So it's a beautiful dry sparkling wine, similar to sort of a cava, not like a prosecco. So that's always wonderful. And we found a new vineyard this year that we hadn't heard of before. So lots of sparkling wine in my fridge at the moment. So I did do one holiday.
On the subject of wine, I actually did get cherry mead from our annual trip to Door County with my in-laws.
Nice.
So I actually got a few extra bottles to hand out as gifts to the other management on my shift for Christmas.
Nice.
But I don't know if I'm going to be disciplined enough for them to last until Christmas. Because it is delicious.
Yeah, cherry mead sounds amazing. Marie, one of our regular listeners on Girls Gone Wow, sent EJ and I some mead last year or the year before, I don't remember. And it was there was an elderflower one and a ginger one. I think I ended up with the elderflower one, and it was absolutely lovely. I don't drink a lot of mead, but it's really lovely, especially when it's sent to you by somebody who's like, "This is good mead. Have the good mead." So yeah, I did have 1 week off. Other than that, it's been a pretty hectic kind of working summer. My work has been hilarious and stressful and a bit grim, but it seems to be turning a corner now, so that's good. And other than that, I've just been sort of playing some video games. Have you done much gaming on your hiatus?
So a lot of my gaming has been very WoW centric. I got caught up in the collection bug. And I did dabble a little bit in Diablo when it first came out. Sorry, Lotus, that you gave me the clan information and I just haven't played since, really. But I do appreciate the invitation. So, like I was saying, I'm actually probably going to hit Mount Collection achievements in 4 straight months at the pace I'm going.
Oh, wow!
And for those unfamiliar, the collection achievements are spaced 50 mounts apart.
Yeah, which is quite a big deal, even in WoW, where there are a lot of mounts. You're into the complicated ones now.
Yeah, a lot of the ones I'm doing are a lot of daily grind stuff at this point, like Argent tournament and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are terrible. Well, that jousting. Oh, the jousting is terrible. Vehicle mechanics in MMOs.
It's not terrible when you're completely over leveled for it because it goes by your actual health pool. So
yeah, I know.
It's still annoying to do.
Yeah.
But I finally came back to ESO much more recently, probably the last 3 weeks, month or so. I still have yet to finish Necrom, but I started initially on an Arcanist because, flavor of the month class.
Yeah.
But I actually started doing it on my main in the past few days. So I just started the story over, basically.
Okay, that seems fair. How is the Arcanist?
The Arcanist was fun, but I like my Dragon Knight better.
Okay. What was the playstyle like? How did it feel?
if I was going to compare it to something that we could both wrap our heads around pretty easily, Demon Hunter and WoW, the big beam.
Yeah, okay.
It felt very similar to me for that and the mobility aspect.
Okay. And they're very beautiful to look at. I see them around in game. They're very, very pretty.
Yes. And of course, green being my favorite color, I'm in love with that beam.
Yeah, I mean, the beam looks pretty cool. In fact, lots of their stuff looks really, really cool. I haven't had a chance to have a go at one yet. I mean, you know me, I only really like my mains, so I haven't rolled up an Arcanist yet, but I feel like I should do one at some point and give it a go, because it does seem like an interesting play style. Although I didn't enormously get on with Demon Hunter. The trouble is I'm just Druid for life. Or Warden in ESO, but just Druid for life, really. That's how I am.
I mean, at this point, I do feel like Wardens is as close as we're getting to Druid for ESO. So
yeah, exactly. It's very similar sort of playstyle and whatever. So that's that. It fills my Druid spot.
So, what games have you played during our hiatus? I think your list is a little longer than mine.
Yeah, I've been playing quite a lot of video games. So I bought an Xbox so that I could play Diablo 4. I played Diablo 3 on my then boyfriend's Xbox, and I didn't have an Xbox of my own, but I actually don't like playing console. I don't like playing Diablo on PC. I much prefer it on Xbox on console. I was also at the beginning of the summer, because work had been so stressful, I spend quite a lot of time working at this computer. This gaming computer is where I do most of my work when I'm at home. We have to be in the office 2 days a week, but it means I work 3 days a week at home. And in fact, at that point, I was working 4 days a week at home. And I just needed, like, I went through a period where I wasn't doing really any gaming, and it was partly, I think, because it was just like I just can't sit at this screen and look at this kind of view any longer. So I bought myself an Xbox, mostly to play Diablo 4, but also it means that there's now gaming available on my couch, and I've rearranged my living room so that I can sit on my couch and I can play on my Xbox, and it's really good. So I finished the campaign in Diablo 4. I did the Fractured Peaks, which is the first zone, like really, 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 really thoroughly. And I spent maybe about 30 hours in the Fractured Peaks, and I did all of the altars and all of the dungeons and all of the, like, everything that was in the Fractured Peak, and killed all of the things. And then I was like, oh man, Starfield comes out in like 5 minutes. Oh no, Baldur's Gate 3 is about to come out. So oh shit, I don't have enough time to do this. So then I rushed through the rest, doing just the campaign and not doing the side quests, which was incredibly difficult, because that's not how I like to play Diablo, or indeed any game. I'm quite completionist. But I have played all the way through the campaign, so I have seen what happens in Diablo 4. I was playing a druid, obviously. I have to say, Pulverized Druid is the most amazing. Like, it's so satisfying. You just you turn into a bear, you go barreling into packs of enemies, and you just rip them apart. It is incredibly satisfying. If you barrel
Whereas
into
conversely, I was having tons of fun with the Storm Druid build.
Oh yeah, no, that is also quite fun. But I do think the bear, for me, just has that real satisfying edge to it. If you barrel into a pack of skeletons, literally the bones just go scattering everywhere. It's great. I loved it a lot. So I would at some point like to go back and do all the rest of the side quests and all the rest of the exploring and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I'd like to finish it up properly. I'm not a seasonal player for Diablo. I'd like to play the campaign. I don't like rolling up. I don't like that you have to roll a new character when you play a season in Diablo. I don't want to keep leveling the same content. And I'm a little bit disappointed that they're adding story bits to the seasons now. So there are bits of the story that you probably won't see unless you do the seasons. But they have committed to regular expansions, which is good. So I think there's quite a lot of longevity to be had in that game. But I have put it down for the moment. So the moment that Diablo 4 was finished, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. I'm a huge Baldur's Gate fan from back in the day. So Baldur's Gate 3 has been amazing. Although actually my co-host on Girls Gone WoW, EJ, I was hoping she'd enjoy it. She's on like
she's
her 5th playthrough.
she has taken to it like a fish to water.
Like, oh my god, she is hundreds of hours into Baldur's Gate 3, and I actually haven't done that much in it. So I've got two characters going. One of it was like my main campaign, and then she and I are doing a co-op campaign. And if I'm not careful, my co-op campaign is going to catch up to where my main is quite soon. So I probably do need to put some more time into Baldur's Gate 3, but that's been a challenge to find the time to do that. But it is really, really good. Like, it's a really good game. Larian has done an
I was going to
incredibly
ask,
good job.
it would probably be about, what, 2027 by the time you actually have time to go back to Diablo?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I think probably I will be going back to Diablo when Diablo's expansion is released, which seems like it might be about every year, they're saying. So we'll see. It's not going to be any time soon. So Baldur's Gate 3 is sitting there. I'm still in Act 1. So I've got a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 still to play. So that's been there. I've also downloaded Starfield. So Starfield came out. I haven't had a chance to play much Starfield. I've done about 10 hours. There just is not enough time in the day to do all of these things. So Starfield is sitting there. When I was about to like dive properly into Starfield, and then I was like, we are bringing the 10th Divine back. We should probably play some Elder Scrolls Online. This is a Bethesda game, but this is not the right Bethesda game. This is not the right IP. So I've also been playing some Necrom. I'm about halfway through Necrom now. I've been doing all the side quests, so I'm literally about half completed of the whole thing, rather than just halfway through the main storyline. Obviously, I'm playing on my Warden because that's what I do, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the little. I really like my little tentacled friend, Scoot. Really enjoying it. And Apocrypha looks beautiful. The landscapes are just incredible. Really enjoying all the little book friends.
Have you unlocked either of the actual companions yet?
No, I haven't got that far yet.
I don't know that either of them appeal to me as much as Ember, you know?
Yeah, I've still got Ember at the moment. She's still wandering around with me at the moment. So I might just keep Ember. But I'm not. I've obviously looked at them. I haven't got to unlocking them yet, but I have sort of seen them, and I think I might just keep Ember. Sorry. That might just be a thing that happens.
Like, yeah, I might get them just to go through the story of why they become companions. But yeah, in terms of who's going to be out and running around with me, Ember for life.
Ember for life. Yes. So yeah, I've been doing some of that. I've also been playing I've also been trying to play a few more sort of just short games, just to do a bit of variety in my gaming, because so Diablo 4 took me like 60 hours to finish the campaign, I think, and there's hundreds of hours more gameplay in there. Baldur's Gate 3 is hundreds of hours of gameplay. Starfield is hundreds of hours of gameplay. Obviously, ESO and World of Warcraft. I've sort of been playing World of Warcraft. I haven't played a lot of World of Warcraft, which is unfortunate since I do a World of Warcraft podcast every single week. But I've not been playing as much WoW as I just haven't had time, you know. So I've got these 3 enormous games plus these 2 MMOs is like too much gaming in many ways. So I've also been trying to sneak in some smaller games that are just around the sort of 10, maybe 20-hour mark, just to try and experience some other things that are going on in the world. So I finally played the new Monkey Island game. And that actually didn't take me very long at all. I shouldn't have played it in story mode. I should have played it on expert mode. But I streamed it all in one sitting, and it only took me about like 8 hours, I think, to finish it.
An expert probably would have put you up to the build 12 hours, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, I'm very familiar with Monkey Island games. I've spent a lot of time in point-and-click adventures. So I think that might have been an error to claim that. But I was streaming it, so I didn't want to make it too difficult, so I did it in story mode. But anyway, I did enjoy it. It was a good story. I liked it. We had a good time. And then yesterday, so I'm now working a 9-day fortnight, which means I get every other Friday off. And yesterday, after spending quite a lot of time sleeping, I played a little game called Toem, Poem. I got about halfway through it. It's an Xbox game that's on Game Pass. So I got Game Pass because, I mean, obviously I need Game Pass. But it's a really super cute little game. It's like a cute animated little thing, and you go around and you take photographs of things to solve, like to help people and solve little mysteries. And you get set little quests, and some of them are to take photos of specific things, or you have to help people out because they've got like a problem. It's amazing. It's just super, super, super cute. I played about 3 hours yesterday. I reckon I'm about halfway through. So yes, I have done quite a lot of gaming, and I now feel a bit more like I can call myself a gamer. But I haven't spent that. But the two games that I've not spent that much time playing are the two games that I do podcasts about. So probably that's an issue. Like probably. Oh, well, never mind. I could probably get away with talking.
At the very least, it's less than ideal.
Yeah, it's less than ideal. Probably I can get away with talking about Starfield in this podcast because Starfield is kind of like adjacent. It's sort of ish. It's a Bethesda game. Although I guess now we're all part of the Microsoft family as of yesterday.
Yes.
So the Blizzard deal went through. Activision Blizzard King are now officially a Microsoft company.
Yes, it was odd seeing Finn throwing up a welcome tweet to the Activision Blizzard developers.
It was. It was lovely though. Did you see the lovely Xbox the Xbox main tweet put out a lovely little like video?
I actually have not had a chance to click on that yet.
Oh, do click on it. It is actually really nice. It is actually really it's really nicely put together. And it's got clips. It's got clips from it's got some Warcraft stuff in there. It's got some Overwatch stuff in there. It's got some like Call of Duty stuff in there. It's got some other. It's got some Halo stuff in there. It's got kind of it brings together a lot of the main IPs. And it's not very long. It's only a couple of minutes, but it's quite a cute little thing. And yes, Gershom, you are not wrong. Bobby can now leave. We understand from Jason Schreier that Bobby will be leaving on the 1st of January 2024. That's Bobby Kotick, who's the head of Activision, who is an asshat. And we will not be sorry to see him go. 1st of January 2024. Hopefully there will be a new broom in
80
Activision.
days. 80
Activision
days.
Oh my god, is it only 80 days until the new year? Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
What even is time, right?
What even is time? Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. I've had quite a busy summer. What has been this show, we're just having a bit of a catch up today. So we're not going to have any kind of in-depth discussions, and obviously we don't have a guest this week. We're going to talk at the end a little bit about what the show will be about kind of moving forwards, but we had a few pieces of ESO news good. There was some ESO news whilst we were away. We were away for 4 months, so this seems like a good idea.
The second part of the first bit of news actually just recently happened. For a while, they had disabled Crown Store gifting entirely. Not even between friends. You couldn't gift at all.
Yeah.
And that led to a pretty big community uproar, and especially on the content creation side, a lot of giveaway stuff are via Crown Store. So I can understand where they were coming from on it. But just this past week, they have re-enabled it. So do you have any thoughts on the whole Crown gifting I don't want to say disaster because it wasn't quite that bad, but it was messy.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly messy. I'm certainly glad it's come back. It does, yes, as you say, for content creators, it does make life a bit easier when you can gift things in the store if you've got giveaways and those kinds of things. So yeah, I'm definitely glad it's come back. I do think some people got a little bit overwrought about it, but hey, this is the internet life. That's what happens.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it went away. That was unfortunate. It's come back. That's great. I'm glad it's come back. That's where we're at, I think.
Okay. And we also have an upcoming long maintenance across all platforms. I believe it was 3 a.m. to 2 p.m. Across, like I said, all platforms, getting that long maintenance on Tuesday, October 17th. So just watch out for that. If you were planning to do any gaming in Elder Scrolls on Tuesday, it might not happen.
Yeah, that's fair. I will completely forget about this, and then I will try to log in to get my crown crates, to get my crown update daily thing, and then I will be like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's not a thing today. So yes, watch me forget on Tuesday, even though we've just talked about it here, because that's a thing that will happen. Wonderful Gina Bruno, who we had on our first ever show and who is an outstanding community manager, has just celebrated 16 years at ZOS. 16 years at ZeniMax. That's an incredible achievement. So big congratulations to Gina. You're an amazing community manager. We love having you available to us and to the community. Outstanding work. And yeah, big up to Gina.
Yes, massive congratulations. I mean, in today's world, 16 years at the same company in any field is outstanding.
Yeah.
And especially when you're forward facing as like you are in your role, you have been just knocking it out of the park. And thank you for all you do for the community.
Yeah, for sure. And big snuggles to your lovely dog, who sometimes appears on stream. So, update 40 is coming to PC on the 30th and console on the 14th of November. So this is the sort of the Q3 or Q4 update in the roadmap.
Q4 update.
Q4 update in the roadmap. I've lost track completely. This is the Q4 update in the roadmap. So we've got a brand new PvE activity called the Endless Archive, which honestly just looks like Torghast. Put Torghast into ESO. Did you see any of the streams they did, sort of previewing it? Did you watch the preview stream at all?
I have not managed to catch it. I was actually trying to go into that particular game mode blind to see how it felt in relation to Torghast versus the Final Fantasy Endless Dungeons, which are completely optional, no player power tied to them in any way. So I just want to see how they feel in that scale.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. So I don't think there'll be any player power sort of tied behind them. But it's very similar to Torghast in WoW or Endless Dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV, where you just you go into a specific sort of a sectioned off space, an instanced space, that's the word I'm looking for, and you fight lots of bosses. And every like 2 or 3 bosses, 5 bosses, you get a big boss. And then you just keep doing it as long as you want until you die, which will probably be quite soon because they're quite scary.
I mean, I'm up for the challenge at least once.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have a good PvE activity, I think. I enjoyed Torghast when it first came out, and I didn't really have anything else to do. I actually quite liked Torghast. But it didn't stick throughout the whole expansion for me, partly because there was so much else going on in other parts of the game. It just never quite found its space. But ESO doesn't have a problem which World of Warcraft has, in which there are not endless like world events or other bits and pieces going on. We've been talking about this for Dragonflight in particular in Girls Gone WoW a lot recently. It's like there's so many different things you could be doing. ESO doesn't quite have that problem, for which I'm grateful. So it might be that it finds a sort of a niche a little bit more.
Yes, but at the same time, it is always good to have another gameplay pillar besides Tales and Dungeons and Trials.
Completely.
So anytime they're adding more to do to the game without a set schedule, and I think that's the big problem with the Dragonflight stuff, is that it's all on a set schedule that is overlapping. I think it's a good thing, and they've been doing better this expansion about stuff that's actually in the game in terms of earnable rewards and all of that.
Yes, definitely. I was turning my lights on to get a bit dark in here.
Speaking of other quality of life improvements, There is going to be a redesign to the group finder where you can request specific ideas, like you've done this before, we're trying to teach, whatever, certain CP levels, so you can filter into the people that you actually want in your group instead of just completely randomly. The quest rewards in terms of gold and experience are going to be going through a standardization, which I feel that's a good thing.
It's always going to be a good thing, isn't it, really?
Well, especially seeing as it's a very much a go where you want, play which zone you want kind of game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's jarring to get big rewards from one zone, then go to another, and all of a sudden you're getting a fifth of what you'd previously gotten or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that's a regular piece of housekeeping that they should probably be doing, is just making sure that everything is still working across the board in that regard.
And this one is going to be a big one for housing enthusiasts and guild masters.
Yes.
There will finally be Grandmaster Crafting Station, which attuned to all sets, which will in theory lower the amount of housing slots you need for crafting stations down to a mere 4. Whereas I
thought this was a brilliant idea.
Yes. So I know there are certain guild halls where there are literally dozens of stations and nothing else in it at all. So this is a fantastic move.
When they were doing the launch event or the preview event on stream, they'd put all of the different crafting tables, I think just for one type of crafting. I think they were like woodworking stations or something, but they'd like put them all out in one of the houses, and it was like, well, look at all this. It's like, yep, that's a big mess. Big mess. So no, this was definitely, of all of the things that were covered at the preview, I think this was the one that made people go, yes, finally! This is like huge.
This got almost as big of a cheer as the actual expansion announcement.
Yeah. This was huge news. And I think they've done I think they're doing it in a really good way. So you still have to go and, obviously get all the achievements and everything, but it just unlocks every time you unlock a new one. You can just do it from your crafting station. So that seems like a much better way of doing things. Big news everywhere. Lotus seemed very happy about this.
Well, he does run a guild, so I would imagine he would be. Especially seeing as he doesn't pay for ESO Plus, so he has half he has half the housing slots that all the other guild masters, because I assume most guild masters pay for ESO Plus, specifically for the crafting stations.
Yeah, this looked like a huge quality of life thing. So, and also was a good sort of piece of reaction to player feedback and community feedback. I felt like,
yes.
It felt like they were doing the stuff that they were doing in Update 40 was quite. It felt like they've been listening to people. I don't know how it's all gone down on the PTS. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. So, but I'm excited to see it all land.
Yes, so am I. So now that we've covered the news that we mostly missed over the past several months.
I mean, some of those were quite up to date news items. Wasn't a complete itinerary of everything we've missed over the last 4 months.
Oh, not nearly. But what will the show look like moving forward?
Yeah, so we're going to be sticking to the same sort of recording schedule. So we'll be here every other Saturday. We've moved it slightly later in the day for the live show recording. So we're at 6 p.m. London time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. Midday over in Chicago over there. But we're probably not going to be having guests absolutely every single show. So we'll be moving towards a format that's we would still like to have loads of interviews, so there's definitely still space for you to come on the show if you've not been on the show yet and you want to come and talk about ESO. We'll definitely be bringing you new content creators and other people as we can find them and get them booked in, but we'll also be doing some more sort of general shows about topics of interest in the game. So actually the one that we did just before we went away was a kind of first look at Necrom. And we've done ones about kind of starting to get into trials before, but we might be looking at more specific kind of aspects of the game, or more kind of general shows. We might bring people in for those. We might not bring people in for those. We're just trying to give ourselves a little bit more flexibility, I think is fair to say.
But I will say, if you're a housing mancer, please get in touch, because we'd love to talk housing, but neither of us are exactly experts.
Yes, definitely. If housing is your thing, for sure. And I guess we might put out calls periodically for topics that we'd love to talk about and learn about ourselves, because we're fairly new to the game, that we need expert advice about. So maybe they'll be more topic focused rather than interviewing creators. But we would definitely love to have more people come visit us. We're still open for guests, for sure. But I think it's fair to say that podcasting in general, certainly video game podcasting, is in a little bit of a strange space at the moment. It's been a bit more challenging to get guests on this show, and also on Girls Gone WoW. Listener numbers are just a little bit down. It feels like there's a little bit less interest. I mean, I can so from having done Girls Gone WoW for, oh god, I think we're coming up to our 13th anniversary, I think, now.
A decade
or 12.
plus, yes.
Yeah, something like that. I can tell you that interest in sort of gaming podcasts definitely waxes and wanes. And interest in podcasts in general kind of waxes and wanes. I feel like podcasting in general is actually doing quite well at the moment, but this sort of community-led type effort is maybe not top of the stand at the moment. That's just a fact of life. That's just how things go. Things kind of ebb and flow, and that's the natural order of things. We do this because we enjoy it. We love that you love listening to it, but we're mostly here for our own entertainment, which I think is super important. So yeah, it'll be a bit more of a flexible schedule. If you've got things you would like us to hear us talk about, then please do let us know. If you know particular content creators, particular streamers, particular YouTubers, people who organize guilds, like notable people from the community, we'd love to interview them. If you give us ideas as to who you'd like to see, and yeah, any topics or any discussion points, we're up to hear from those too.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I said we were just going to do a short one, and actually it's not been that short. But we have, I think, now reached the end of the show. So thanks for tuning in. If you're enjoying it, please let other people know and give us a review wherever you're listening to us. Rating and reviewing the show will help other people find it. If you want to get in touch, you can find us on Twitter or Blue Sky at 10th Divine Pod. You can find us on Instagram at 10th Divine Podcast, or you can email the show at 10thdivinepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to book a slot, probably better to contact Shanty directly at shantymangaming@gmail.com, or via DM on Twitter. We are not calling it the other name. As you know,
Nope.
the show...
I refuse.
We're not calling it the other name, so it'll be Twitter until it dies, which is probably going to be sooner rather than later, hence our presence on Blue Sky and Instagram. This show is part of Bonus Roll Productions, so you can find our show and lots of other great MMO-focused podcasts, such as For Azeroth, Realm Maintenance, or Girls Gone WoW, over at bonusroll.gg. And finally, if you want to find us in other places, you can find me, Raven, over at Girls Gone WoW, if you're a World of Warcraft fan, or if tabletop RPGs are your thing, check out As the Dice Roll, which has also just come back from a hiatus in terms of its release schedule. I'm part of the crew of the Cautious Optimism. We actually just finished that whole campaign. That was a 3-year GURPS campaign, and we have actually now finished playing it, which is a huge achievement.
I'm amazed. Campaigns never finish. That's just not how campaigns work. They just fizzle out. That's the rule.
Yeah, I know. So absolutely incredible to get to the end of it, and we saved the world. That's all I'll say. The galaxy. We saved the galaxy. That's what we did. So it's still being released over on As the Dice Roll, though. So I think that's a bit behind on the release schedule. So you can still catch up if you want. You can also find me as Silky Raven on Twitter, Blue Sky, Twitch, or Instagram, or over at the GGW Discord at bit.ly/GGW-Discord. There's a channel over there for ESO stuff, and also Baldur's Gate, and also other bits and pieces of general gaming chatter.
And you can find me, Shanty, on Twitter, Blue Sky, or Twitch at Shantyman Gaming. On Twitch, I stream ESO and other MMOs. I've been doing a lot of collection streams for WoW.
Nice.
Unsurprisingly, given my update on what I've been doing at the start of the show. You can also find me on the Girls Gone WoW Discord, joining in the ESO chatter and gaming chat, and a whole variety of other gaming Discords. Feel free to say hello if you happen to see me online.
Cool. We will be back in a fortnight with another, in a fortnight-ish, with another lovely chat about ESO. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.